तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
Today we have with us for all our students Vishal Mani sir, and he has been one of the favorite students, and it's motivation for us to listen to him, and it would be a very good time. And he has been he climbed the ladder gradually in a software company based in Hyderabad, and rest all he will tell you. But regarding the confidence building part, he will be mostly talking about perseverance, how to keep up and not let yourself fall into some kind of depression or something, which generally our generation generally gives up too early. So how not to give up and how to keep up the perseverance. So he'll be talking more on that.
So where do we need to start from?
You start from your Sainik school, Lucknow, from how all these ideas are there for NDA and all that, Tarak.
Okay.
Very
Okay. So well, first of all, to your all the students, I would like to start with a disclaimer that I don't consider myself to be too much of a success. Okay, so whatever little I have done in my life, I would like to just share it with you, and you have to filter it out. All the students, if you can relate to it, yes, pick up the best possible things. But yeah, okay. So well, my journey, obviously from the school days, is something like this. That I joined Sainik School at the age of 10. In Sainik School, Lucknow. Currently, it is called as Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, UP Sainik School. Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, Paramveer Chakra winner, was my schoolmate. And on his name, we rebranded our name. So I joined that at the age of 10. That passion for services somehow got into me at a very young age. So my father also supported me. I went there, studied there for 6 years. It was a fantastic journey during those 6 years. In addition to academics, a lot of extracurricular activities, games, sports. So it was all great. And then as Sainik School students, we were supposed to apply. That was a passion to join NDA. So I tried NDA 2 times. But unfortunately, both the times I cleared the written, but could not clear SSB. So there are reasons. I think, when I look back, I know that what were those reasons. But after 2 times, I realized that probably I'm not cut out for services. And, that happened because of 2, 3 things. One, even the assessors there, in SSB would tell you that, okay, it's not the end of the world if you cannot clear SSB, because there are a lot of other great personalities who have done very well in other walks of life. So I did the same. I took that into my stride, and I came back to Delhi, where my parents were posted, got admitted in Delhi University, started doing my graduation. And after that, the studies went well. I tried once for serious, but I was not serious by that time. And I'll tell you that why I dropped that idea later on. But yeah, I tried serious once, but was not serious. And then I got into IT services domain. So, and obviously, also to give you a brief intro, I am definitely more senior to most of the students here. I'm already almost like 44 now. So it was long back. I'm talking about late 90s when I did my first job. So I was in Delhi into software companies. For 3 years, I worked there as a programmer. And then I knew that if I have to move up the ladder, then I need to do my post-graduation or crack some better exams. So after that, I tried for MBA exams. Luckily, I could crack few of them. I qualified CAT, got 2 calls from the IIMs. I'm Indore, I'm Kozhikode. I also cracked IIFT New Delhi. I also did well in my GRE exams. I had offers from one of the US universities for my master's. But considering all the factors, I joined IIFT New Delhi. Did my full 2 years MBA program from there. From the campus itself, I got placed. Luckily, again, I was one of the first students to get placed from my campus on the very first day. So I joined a multinational FMCG company in Delhi, worked there briefly, but then I realized that I'm not cut out for FMCG companies also, though it is a dream job for MBA aspirants. and I came back into IT because that is something which I was doing prior to my MBA as well. So I joined Infosys, and that's where I spent considerable time, almost like 7, 8, 9 years I spent there. And I got very good growth. Luckily, the unit I was working in, I was into consulting domain of enterprise solutions. So we used to deploy SAP solutions to our end clients. And luckily, I traveled far and wide with my career during Infosys days, so from Far East to Far West. And then after my Infosys days, I got an opportunity to incubate Indian operations of a European company. So that was a very unique opportunity. And I picked that up. Now that was kind of a risk because I left my very established job to start something from the scratch. So that is something which even I'm doing now. So I incubated that company. I established that operations from the zero stage. So first company, first employee, everything first. And then for the last 9 years, I've been running operations of that company in India. Currently, you can call me as a director of Asia Pacific region for this company. We have one set up in Hyderabad, and I have dual roles. I manage the operations of the company here, and I also look after the customer relationships in this region. So that has been a bit about my career, what I'm doing now. So I'm into full-time corporate job, enjoying that. In the meantime, I definitely got married, have a beautiful family with 2 kids. And in this journey, yes, again, the services or armed forces charm again got erupted, which I'll tell you briefly, and then we can again go a bit more deep. So as I told you that since I attempted twice my NDA and I could not clear SSB, I said, okay, enough, probably I'm not cut out. It was also a misconception at that point of time in me that probably if you are a repeater, you will not be accepted. And at that point of time, I'm talking about late 90s, YouTube, social media, etc., was not there. So access to experts was also not much. So this was a misconception. I'm using this word again because I don't want the students to feel that now, because if you are a repeater, you can still have a very fair chance. So yeah, but it was there in my head that point of time that since I have been rejected 2 times, I will not be accepted anymore. And then around 2015, I came to know about this territorial army. It was an advertisement in a newspaper, and it was mentioned that even candidates up to the age of 42 can apply. And all you have to do is that serve services on armed forces for 2 months, and rest of the 10 months you can be in your civil life. And this is like best of both worlds. And I said, yeah, this looks fantastic because I can continue with my civil job. And the first love in your life, what the armed forces were, I could have achieved that as well. So I tried my exam after a gap of almost 18, 20 years in 2015. But as the luck would have had it, I was screened out. And screening process, I got introduced for the first time because during my NDA days, there was no screening. You would go through the whole SSB experience completely. So by the time I reached there, within a couple of hours, I was out, and I didn't know that what happened to me. It came as a shock. And I was already in a leadership position in my company. So I used to think that, yeah, screening should be easy. So 2015, I did that. And yeah, that was a setback. Then I again tried in 2019. So again, written got clear. And this time I really tried well. This time I actually went through a lot of material. I got in touch with Col Nehru, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for guiding me. So he actually gave me that confidence that, yeah, there's nothing wrong. You just need to go with the flow. And yeah, this time when I tried, and this was probably my last attempt of this life. So I could clear SSB. And incidentally, I probably became the oldest man in India to clear SSB, almost at the age of 42 years, 7 months. I still take a lot of pride in that. Looks very different, but yeah, I did that, and I felt good about it. That at this age, because in that long queue, I was a senior most. But then when you clear that it gives you confidence that yeah, you did something right. So yeah, that territorial army SSB process got clear. But unfortunately, I was medical out. Again, we can discuss that later. So, so I could not join TA. But yeah, my corporate life is still as it is. I still have immense responsibilities, have a beautiful family. So my life goes on. And yeah, that's a bit about me, sir, about my journey.
Very nice knowing that. Good. Now that people are on the same grid as you and I already are, I will start asking the questions first before we, start with the students asking you questions. There would definitely have been some change in mindset which you got since the time you went for your, Scenic School time, your SSB attempts, and now when you went in 2019. So what all changes had come? If you could just talk about them a little bit.
Okay. So see, thing is that SSB as a process has remained same. It is one of the most open book kind of assessment or exam, if you could say that. Nothing has changed in the last 40 years. Forget 25 in my case, or even 40 years, the same 3-day process, psychology, GTO interview. The thing which has changed that when I was a 16-year-old, went for my NDA, my credentials were limited. Exposure was limited. We were like in a cocoon, in a boarding school, 6 years, all boys school. Yeah, we used to do a lot of things, but I think there was limited things to show from my own personality. I was just an average plus student, so I was not even a topper in my school. I was average plus in all the sports, but not so good that I would be admitted in the school team of every sport. So I was more of a generalist. I was not a specialist. So I think, that was one key trait I can say, that at that point of time, there was nothing very significant. And the preparations, etc., whatever I could have done were also very limited because exposure was not there. So I just landed up at SSB and I knew that where I performed wrongly. I still remember my first SSB very well. So, you may be surprised, but I took notes. Those notes are still with me from my first SSB, which topic I spoke on, who called me. All those things are very crystal clear in my mind till now. So as I said, that I was like a very generic person, not very well prepared, not much to show from my own career or my student days. And I think due to that, yeah, I mean, I was not selected. But then what happened that in between almost 20 years, much water had flown. And being, Scenic School students, there is an amount of, sturdiness, go-getter attitude that, you have to get it wherever you are, whatever you do. And I think that kept us going. So from that average student, by the time I did my graduation, I was a topper of my graduate college. I could crack better exams. I could do well in my MBA. I could get placed in some of the good companies. So then what happened that, all these things add up to your profile. That increases your confidence and that also adds to your overall personality. So now in these 20 years, a lot of things got added up. You realize that, okay, you have been able to create few things. For example, I could set up a new company all from the scratch to, where like 110 people are working now. I became like a corporate speaker. I would go to a lot of conferences. I started writing, blogging. Some of the good habits which I had during school days, like running and endurance sports, I could sustain. So I think all these things added to the personality. And now when I went in 2019, I was a very different man, because then the PIQ form which I wrote, I don't think there was any section where I was feeling what to write. In fact, I had to choose that what I need to write. I have to be selective. So I think the PIQ form, when I myself felt good about it, that, okay, you are not like a superstar, but still you have done decently well to share your credentials with the assessing officers that this guy has done something in life. And I think that changed. And in 2019, that gave me the confidence. And then I could speak on any of the topic what was there in my PIQ and defend it very well.
Very nice, very nicely explained. Vishal, tell us something about the screen out for TA, and how did it affect you? And then, what were the thoughts going on in your mind, and how did you go again for it?
Yeah, so sure. Again, SSB Armed Forces, like, my first love. So again, I know crystal clear what happened there and why I was out. So now in 2015, which was like my second life in all this SSB and Armed Forces. So you can call it like my first attempt in the second phase. Now, you can call me a bit overconfident because in 2015, I was already running a company here, had all done my academics, etc. So when I went there, I was feeling that, yeah, I mean, screening is what? I mean, there are some like 3, 4 tests. I will do well, because when you have cleared CAT and other exams, then, all these, questions, etc., the reasoning question, I will be able to do that. But what happened is that it was so sudden that, those, what you say, reasoning exams, and then GD and writing that narrative of that story, I think I could not fit in. I was too suave. I think I was too formal in that setup. I could not utter a word, because for me that was like more of a chaos, and I was more corporate like. I could not speak much, and by the time I realized what has happened, it was over. And within 3, 4 hours, like out, it really set me back. I said, "Come on! I mean, how it can happen that you are not even selected after screening?" I had taken it lightly, as I said. I acknowledge I took it very lightly. And then in 3, 4 years later, when I again went in 2020, in fact, my SSB was 2020 July. This time I was much prepared, because this time I worked. Hey, what is this screening? How you have to perform? How you have to approach towards it? Narration, etc. What you have to do of the story? How you have to structure it? I think I spent a lot of time on that. That you give more content to the assessors rather than beating around the bush here and there. So your stories, your narration, your GD, you don't have you. Okay, it's a chaos. You still have to bring your points. So I think I was slightly more prepared, and I think that worked. And in my case, because when I went for my SSB second time, this 2019, it was the peak of COVID, July 2020. So 165 candidates reported, and only 16 they took. So it was like 10% result. So I felt fortunate that I was one of those 16. And but yeah, that added to a lot of confidence.
Very nice. I remember the thoughts I have. I mean, I have my image. I convey certain things to the student. I convey practically 100%. Little bit of reserve you have, and as far as you are concerned, you appeared like always a case of person जो हम बोलते हैं ना दूध का जला. So you were exactly that. दूध का जला हुआ जो था, वो छाछ को भी फूक फूक कर पी रहा था बिल्कुल. Often it is not bad, it is not bad. But I felt that you were मतलब ज्यादा जला हुआ था दूध का.
नहीं सर, वही होता है कि आप ये सोचते हो कि यार ये कैसे हो गया, कि यू स्टार्ट रिफ्लेक्टिंग बैक. और दुख से ये नहीं है कि दुख हो रहा है, दुख से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो. इट्स मोर ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कि बॉस ये क्या हो रहा है. कि चलो वो 20 साल पहले आप एनडीए नहीं हुआ, आपको ठीक है, बट अभी 2015 नो यू आर वेल वर्स, यू आर 35 प्लस. Why it is happening? So I think when I met you, and thanks to you for your guidance, I think you said कि विशाल everything is okay, तेरे में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तू बस वही कर जो करना है. The only thing is कि वो जो सेल्फ डाउट है वो हटा दो. So I think I just focused on that कि वो सेल्फ डाउट हटाया. और then I went a bit deep, into each and every process, each and every test कि क्या करना क्या है. Because अभी वो लिखने विखने की सब प्रैक्टिस छूट गई थी. 20 साल से हमने उतना लिखा ही नहीं है. 12 स्टोरी, 40-50 मिनट, 1 घंटा. I had never written something like this. So my focus was not on कि स्टोरी क्या सोच के जानी, more than that कि यार मैं 1 घंटा लिख पाऊंगा नहीं लिख पाऊंगा. So my focus was more on that, and luckily things went in place. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
One more thing is there which is very relevant, which has come very easy to you. Please share with us, what was your motivation to sustain your physical fitness and interest in this aspect? Because generally, what happens, how our society is. ये कोई मतलब कोई है कि पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब, खेलो कूदोगे ना, तो मतलब the Sainik school kind of lifestyle is not very much promoted in the society. But somehow you have continued with that lifestyle, and that is why when I spoke to you, I found you, I mean, IQ, तो मैंने कहा यार high profile बंदा, कोई problem नहीं है, there is no issue. But I said, यार, at this age, you know, he's 42 and all that, physical, वो तो कितना rust लग गया and all that, and I found you are not rusted at all. So that was, you know, quite, you know, abnormal for me. So just share your views. How did you sustain? How was the interest and all that?
Okay, so again, I think, some of these habits we inculcated in school, um, uh, to running, etc., I have been doing since the age of 10. Again, I take a lot of pride that for last 30 years, I have been running consistently. तो 5-10 किलोमीटर तो जिंदगी भर दौड़ते ही रहे. अच्छा, क्यों नहीं छोड़ा? Why didn't we leave it? Because I think this comes from your inner strength, inner discipline. There are a lot of good habits which school would have taught, we would have left, but this fitness, etc., I retained. So what I did was that even when I came out of school, 12th graduation, my first job, when I went overseas, I always made sure that I keep running, 3-5 kilometers consistently. And then there came a point, especially when you start touching 40, then, okay, you have to challenge yourself. Okay, yaar, 5-7 kilometers to karte, now we have to go beyond. So then I started running, 10K, 15K, half marathons, etc. And now I've done several half marathons. I like endurance sports, long distance cycling. So Saturday go, for example, we pick up my cycle and go for 40-50 kilometers like that, or Sunday long runs or city marathons. So this is something we do. Now, why we do? Because I think this is something which is more intrinsic, because you want to feel good, it keeps you healthy. It gives you a lot of confidence when you stand in front of your team, or when you are speaking, giving a lecture or session anywhere. You have to feel good about yourself. And another thing is, it also declutters your mind. You have been working in corporate, it's stressful. So every in the evening or in the morning, if you can go out and do some 5, 8, 10 kilometers run, it declutters your mind. So it's a factor of multiple things. I think all of us, you need to value your body. This is something which will help you, which will sustain you for a long time and give you a lot of benefits. And I think since I didn't stop running in last 30 years, when I tried for SSB, that was the least of my bother, because I knew that all these 10 obstacles, I will be able to do that. So that was it. I think, I would just say in one word, probably a bit of discipline and my own intrinsic desire to remain fit, which has helped me going.
Great, great. And how your lifestyle has influenced your immediate family, your wife and kids?
Oh, well, it rubs a bit. It rubs a bit on them. Well, again, there are multiple aspects of my lifestyle. But let us say if we talk about fitness, now my wife also runs. So she also does 5K and 10K with me. In these days, there's a lot of awareness, in every city. There was a time in 2000 or 2010, there were hardly any marathons which are happening in any city. But now, if you go to any bigger metro and maybe in the tier 2 cities, there are a lot of marathons, etc. happening. So my wife started doing that. My kids who are, young, they also do 5K. So I think now it has become a part of our culture. It also opens up door and let you meet like-minded people. So some of my best friends now are those people who are runners. So we gather, we meet, and that also opens up doors for your social circles. So I think I would say, so that helps my family. They understand that, okay, I spend some time in the morning going for cycle or for my running. So I think now it's a cumulative effort, and that's well appreciated in the family now.
Excellent. अब जो है मिसेस विशाल और मेरे दोनों का व्यू ये था कि भाई देखो, इसके दिमाग में ये कीड़ा है एसएसबी पास करने का, तो वो इसे कर लेना चाहिए. दैट इज फाइन. बट फिर ये ज्वाइन करने का कोई मतलब नहीं बनता है. एंड इन दैट बोथ ऑफ अस वर एब्सोल्यूट congruent in our views. So I'm sure Mimsa was as happy as I was when you were medically rejected. So that was a common thing to cheer for both of us. So I mean, you need not comment upon it. You are open to now questions from our student. Thanks a lot for sharing your views, and I have also learned certain aspects. These are curiosities in my mind which got settled now.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. No, whatever little success I could get in my SSB, etc., I owe a lot to you. Thanks for guiding me. Yeah, I mean, services is something, it's like an old flame. It's a first love. Because, as a 10-year-old, when you dream of something, you work towards that for 6-7 years. And now, all your batchmates, they all are like mid-level officers in armed forces. Some are colonels, some are going to be brigadiers now. So that aspiration was there. And when this whole territorial army came, I said, this is the best of both worlds. You can serve services, you can give something back to forces and learn from them for 2 months, and then be in your civil life. So that was it. But yeah, unfortunately, it could not happen. I will not say there is no regret. There is a regret. But yeah, life has to move on. I mean, you cannot hold on to that and, feel remorse about it. So we all have to continue and look for the next milestone. And whatever things you have thought about society to give something back, I think there will be other avenues too. I mean, we can work through different ways and through different channels to give back to the society, to your government, to your nation. So armed forces is not the only world. So yeah, that's my view, sir. Yeah, so open to other questions from any of your other students.
First of all, good morning, sir. Good morning, Nehru, sir, and good morning, Vishal, sir. Sir, I would like to know from you that during your screening process, as you mentioned that all of things happened in a sudden and you were unable to grasp what was happening. So how did you change yourself from that scenario to the next scenario in which you got screened in? I mean, how did you prepare for your OIR? Did you prepare for your PPDT and all?
Good question. Well, I mean, as I said, the next time when I went 2009-20, I prepared for it. Because I think there is enough material. So I'll go step by step. OIR, I downloaded material. I purchased some material, all those OIR sets. I actually solved it. I didn't leave it to chance this time. I said, if I have to, because I need to do well in all the 4 tests. You cannot take it for granted that, okay, reasoning questions will just come easy. So I practiced, and due to that, I could do well in my OIR test. Both the booklets, I think I could finish reasonably well, maybe except for 1 or 2. Thing which I also did was that some questions which are like, you call them as a bottleneck or speed breaker questions, I left them, I finished the rest of them, came back to some of those questions later. And I think, I don't remember the percentage now, but I would have easily done 90-95% type questions in both the tests. The next one was that PPDT. So PPDT, again, for that, you don't need to prepare something, because the picture which is being shown, the only thing you need to do is that how you structure it in those 4 minutes. So I did practice to structure my stories within those 4 minutes. So anything which comes, you will be able to relate to it. And you have to be practical. You have to be honest about it. Don't beat around the bush. Do not think absolutely something out of the world. Whatever is being shown, spend your time, those 30 seconds, to observe what are the characters, what is the setting, and create a story around it. And listen to the instructions of the assessor very carefully, what they are asking. If they have asked you to identify characters in those circles, age, mood, you just do that. And I practiced to write the story within 4 minutes. So which again, I could do this. Now, the third one, which was the narration part, again, I read about it, how you have to do the narration. Now, you get only 1 minute and you have to give your best. So what I did was that the initial introduction about characters and the story title, I kept it to the bare minimum. Within 15 seconds, I finished that off. Okay. I didn't kept on going, okay, I'm seeing these characters, this setting, this is a title, this was the age, this is a mood. Because if you do all that, you will spend probably 25 seconds. Don't do that. Or maybe so what you need to do is do your introduction quick, come to the story, and utilize those 45 seconds to give more details about the story so that the assessor can hear it. Of course, the one part of it is your own narration, your vocabulary, your narration, your communication skills. Now, that is something anyway you as a candidate, you have to prepare. So speaking is kind of was natural for me. So again, I didn't have to prepare too much for that. And then came the GD part. So GD, I heard somewhere very, very beautiful line that, in GD, you don't have to participate just for the heck of it. You don't have to repeat, you have to contribute. So if during the GD, if you are able to contribute, bring certain points, appreciate the person who has brought good points, 2 or 3 or 4 times I would have spoken, 2, 3 times, probably 3 times, but all the time I appreciated somebody who brought good points, contributed a new dimension from my side, and helped the group to pick up something from my side. So this is what I did in my test during my screening, and I think this time I felt better that I could give my best rather than be kind of surprised at what happened and things were over. So yeah, so this actually helped me, and luckily I got screened in.
Thanks a lot for your insight, sir. It was quite knowledgeable for me as well, since I'm having my screening on 1st Feb screening process. So that was quite helpful for me as well.
Thank you.
So my question was, as you left your writing practice like 12, 13 years earlier, and you said in the corporate we must like more of the typing is there. So how you practiced writing for like around minimum 2 hours or 1 hour of writing? How you practiced for the 12 stories?
Absolutely, I did that. And that's what I said, that this time I did practice. 2019, I was much better prepared for SSB. So what I did was, in corporate life, as you rightly said, we hardly write. I mean, most of the, even if I have to take notes during meetings, either I take it directly on the laptop or those notes are shorter, but for SSB, especially due to psychology test, you have to write all these 12 stories and then 60 words and SRT. So I actually practiced. So again, a lot of material is available. You can take the stories, put it in a PPT, timer wise, tuck, 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 every 4 minutes it will get changed. And I started writing stories. It used to pain because, I had stopped writing, but I made sure that I could write for those 60 to 80 minutes because even towards the end, you have to write your self-description. And SD also takes a bit of time, I think 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, short answer is yes, I did practice because there is no alternative for that.
So you mostly prepared on the pictures only, like keep writing the psychology like that?
No, I practiced other things also. I wrote pictures. I also put timer for my words. So, within 15 seconds, I should be able to write words. Same for SRT, because see, practice actually helps you to be better on that day, because at the end of the day, you have to perform on that day, no matter how good you are. But if you have not done that, you will not be able to perform. So
Yes,
I did practice for each and everything, even for SRTs, that how you should write your responses briefly, concisely, but putting down your actions. And I think, yeah, that helped. Same for self-description also. I did practice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir. As you have told that after 16 years of experience, I had enough material to write on the PIQ form.
Yeah.
But being a graduate student and above average student, I'm a little bit good in sports also. I don't find anything much enough to write on the PIQ form, and that low confidence or self confidence becomes down there. So, but still students who are in graduation or who are clearing NDA, they are having the same amount of exposure which I am having, and they are getting recommended. So what are your thoughts about that? कि हम लोग कैसे अपना सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस इसी टाइम पे बिल्डअप कर ले? 16 years का टाइम तो बहुत होता है आदमी को अपना एक्सपोजर मिल जाने में और कुछ ना कुछ बिल्ड करने में.
Okay, so there are two parts to this question. One is that whatever time you have, whether you are an NDA student, CDS students, or a professional like me who has more number of years, in your career. So what you can write. So that's one part of your question. The second part is the confidence part. I'll pick up the confidence part later. Let's talk about the first one. Now, whosoever is getting recommended, again, let's keep them aside. Question is you as a person, I as a person. We all get the same amount of time. The 17-year-old who is cracking, and you're not cracking, we have got the same time. So question is what we have done during those 17 years of our life. Have you done academics and did you do justice to that? Okay. If you are not well in studies, no problem. But then what other things did you do? Were you good in sports? Did you play sports? Did you take parts in debates and declamations in your school? Did you take part in quizzes? Did you, write some articles for your school magazines? Did you contributed to newspaper articles? Did you write letters to the editors? These are all the various facets which you don't need to have 16 years experience, right? All you need to do is utilize your time judiciously, and and you know and start inculcating these good habits in your life. Same thing for CDS. Now, if you are trying for CDS, it means you have been to college. You have spent at least 2, 3, 4 years in college. Again, you get more time to showcase your skills and your personality. Again, in college, imagine if you are doing good in studies, great. That will speak for yourself, that you know how well did you do. But let us see, even if you're average in studies, no problem. Did you do anything else in college? Did you participate in NCC? Did you participate in your college fest? Were you part of the student council? Did you organize a college fest and you were part of the committee who made it happen? In your residential society, now you are almost 18, 19, 20 years. Did you something do for your residential society? Now, these are the various things you can still do. You don't need 17 years. And in fact, a person like me, if let us say with 20 years experience, it can work negatively also. Let us say if a person who has not done much, if his growth has remained has remained just like that, you have not done very well, then the assessor will say, boss, इसने पिछले 40 साल में कुछ नहीं किया, तो अब आगे जाके क्या करेगा, राइट? सो आप टाइम सबके पास बराबर है, आप और आपके कॉम्पिटिटर्स या फेलो स्टूडेंट और फेलो कैंडिडेट सबके पास बराबर टाइम है. क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपने उस टाइम को कितने अच्छे से यूटिलाइज किया है और आपने क्या अचीव करने की वो ड्राइव थी या नहीं थी. वो ड्राइव होनी बहुत जरूरी है. अगर वो ड्राइव आप में है तो आप कुछ ना कुछ तो करोगे. अगर आप बिल्कुल ही एवरेज हो तो टेक इट फ्रॉम मी कि फिर वो फौज नहीं, किसी भी जगह जाओगे, आप सिविल सर्विसेज का एग्जाम दे लो, आप बैंक का एग्जाम दे लो, आप फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज में अप्लाई कर लो, वो स्ट्रगल फिर वहीं रहेगा. बिकॉज एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नीड्स द बेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल, राइट? तो अगर आप वो अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, वो अपना पैशन दिखा रहे हो, राइटिंग का, बोलने का, खेलने का, पढ़ने का, वो पैशन दिखना चाहिए. बोलने से नहीं होगा कि आई लाइक स्पोर्ट्स. ओके, इफ यू लाइक स्पोर्ट्स, व्हाट डिड यू डू? Okay, did you play at a school level, at a college level, at a university level? Okay, not did you do something for your residential society? Now again, I'm just giving you an example that I love running. Now obviously I'm not like a amateur champion also in my city, for example, that I'm the top 10 of my marathoners. No, but for example, I have conducted couch to 5K programs in my society. So what that means, boss, there are so many people who want to run but they cannot run, or they don't have avenues. So what we did was that we invited ki, if you want to run your 5-kilometer run, join a program. And it was like an 8-week program which I led. And then first day humko 200 meter दौड़ाएंगे, 5 kilometer दौड़ाएंगे, cross training करेंगे, muscle strengthening exercises करेंगे. And gradually after 8 weeks I made sure that they could do a 5-kilometer run. Now if I'm writing that in my PAQ that okay, I love running and I also conducted a couch to 5K program for my residential society people, then the assessor will feel हाँ यार, इस बंदे ने कुछ किया, मतलब दौड़ने के साथ साथ इसने कुछ, he also gave back something to the society. So what I'm trying to say is that studies is okay. I mean, if you're good in studies, it will come out. But even if you're not good in studies, you don't need to be disheartened. There are some other passions. God has given all of us some passion. You need to follow that passion and do justice to that and bring it out. That's what my advice would be.
I will just add a point. Aditya, when we are assessing candidates, what we are seeing are two things. One is the opportunities which were available to an individual. Like Vishal was in Sainik School, Lucknow. Now, Sainik School, Lucknow has got far more opportunities than a normal school. Most people would be, an average student would be exposed. So there he had an advantage. It does not mean that if he did not make use of this opportunity as well as he could have, then he would be rated above a person who did not have access to these opportunities. There'll be so many students who don't have sports grounds, or there may be, there may be just a volleyball court. That's all. So the student, what he can play is only volleyball. There is no other sport available. So we take cognizance of all these things. It's just that we see opportunities क्या थी और उसका utilization क्या किया individual ने. And that is how we come to make an assessment, you know. That's how it goes.
Very valid point, sir. Absolutely, I agree, completely agree. कि assessor ये देख रहा है कि आपका जो passion है, जो opportunity आपको मिली, what did you do with that? अब आप उससे भी आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, तो उसको आपकी personality का एक idea मिलता है कि यार he's not aspirant, you know, he's not okay. Desire है, but he's not working towards that, and I think that is something we need to change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, Vishal sir. So, as I was listening to your story, sir, so there was a point you told that while filling up the PIQ form, sir, so you have so much to write in the extracurricular activity and positions held because of your experience, sir. So you said that you have to be selective in selecting those things. So as I am also a working professional, sir, so I am an assistant professor in a university, sir. I'm also taking care of some of the administrative work. Apart from that, during my college time also, I was proactively taking part in various activities. So how to be selective about the things we need to write down on the PIQ form? So I want to get insight regarding that, sir. Yeah.
Well, this is slightly subjective, Suraj. You know, if you have more experience, you have more to write, then you should select those things which you can explain and defend and you're really confident about, right? I mean, for example, again, you know, I can only take example from my own life. I like a bit of writing. I like to speak on my on the subjects which I prefer. So if I've written that I'm a corporate speaker, I have delivered sessions in conferences, national and international, I would just write that, and then I know that I can defend it. If there is a question from the assessor, okay, where did you speak? What were the topics? Then you should be able to defend that. Now, as I said, there is no straight formula for that, Suraj. You have to look at it that in you being a university professor, and you know, in your college life, what you have done, things which are important to you, which you feel confident about, which will showcase your personality in a better way, which will bring your personality a bit more comprehensively. I think that is something you have to write. There is no straight formula. Maybe I'm repeating that. But yeah, the key thing is that whatever you write, you should be able to defend it confidently. Because if there is something which you are not very passionate about, if you write it, then during the interview, if a question comes, then the person may get stuck. And that will be very negative. That you would not like to land into that situation where you are caught on the wrong foot.
Okay, sir. Got your point, sir. Thank you so much.
Suraj, I will just add a point to give you clarity. Let's say you are Usain Bolt. तो आप ये लिखोगे कि मैं वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड होल्डर हूं और मैंने ओलंपिक के इतना जीते, इतने वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप जीते. You don't have to write कि मैं क्यूबा का इतनी बार, सॉरी, जमैका का इतनी बार चैंपियन रहा था, मैं अपने स्कूल का भी रहा था. उसमें रहा ही होगा ऑब्वियसली. जो उसेन बोल्ट है, आई एम डेफिनेटली वो अपने क्लास और स्कूल में जीता ही होगा. So you know, this is just adding up information. So all of us have a sense of priority कि जो था, अगर तुम मतलब फिल्म वाले हो, अगर तुमने दंगल पे काम किया था आमिर खान की, तो तुम वो लिखो. तुम ये मत लिखो ना कि मैं स्कूल के ड्रामा में भी पार्टिसिपेट किया था. You know, वो मतलब ऑब्वियसली, मतलब जो जिसको आमिर खान ने रोल दिया है अपनी पिक्चर में एक्ट करने का, तो उसने किया ही होगा ना, स्कूल से भी ड्रामा किया ही होगा. तो like you know what we as a assessor we find laughable, जब कई बच्चे आके लिखते हैं कि you know मैं जो था, मैंने पोएम रिसाइट की थी यार 4th क्लास में. अब you know यार, and Vishal, I remember एक ने बोला मैं क्रिकेट का कैप्टन था, and when I started asking, तो पता चला उनके 4 घरों का वो था मकान, जो ग्रुप था उसमें वो कैप्टन था और बैट इसी के पास था. तो you know अब तुम बैट का ओनर था तो तेरे को कैप्टन बना दिया था उन्होंने. तो I mean, you know, you get the idea. So you can have this sense of, you know, priority in a simple way and prioritize things. The most significant things you bring out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it, sir.
Got the point, Suraj?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we have taken a large amount of your time, Vishal. People were very keen to listen to your views, and you have, I mean, with your experience and all that, you would be definitely helpful to all our students and also to the people who come and listen to this. Thanks for taking your time, Vishal. It remains for me to thank you. Thanks for joining No Frills Academy. Thanks to getting to know you well. And once again today, thanks for sparing your time. Please take care. God bless. Wish you all the best.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
With the students, and my best wishes to each one of you. Even if there are questions later, I think you can pass it on to Yogita, and she can compile and send it to me. Although I know that you have a great mentor in form of Col Nehru, you don't need anybody else in Col Nehru. But yeah, in case anything you want to know more for territorial army of corporate life, I'll be glad to help. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.